This secret mindset will make you superhuman. Most people live their lives trapped in a prison of limitations, not because the prison is real, but because they've accepted it in their minds. From the moment we are born, we are conditioned to believe in boundaries, what we can do, who we can be, and how far we can go. But what if I told you that within you lies a power so profound, so limitless, that it could make you superhuman, not in fiction, but in reality? This power is not found in books, titles, or the validation of others. It is buried in your consciousness, waiting to be awakened. You don't need to chase greatness. You need only to realize it's already within you. The world you see outside is merely the shadow. The mind is the only reality. Master within, rule without. Everything you see, everything you experience, everything you call life, is merely an outpicturing of what first began as thought. The world, with all its beauty and brokenness, with all its chaos and opportunity, is not happening to you, it is happening through you. The great secret the world has hidden in plain sight is this: the mind is the only true reality. Not the body, not the environment, not the events you encounter, but your internal world of assumptions, beliefs, and dominant thoughts. The outer is always the servant of the inner. We have been trained to react to the world, to respond to circumstances, to let facts decide our fate, but the awakened man, the superhuman, reverses this process. He understands that all causation is mental, that nothing appears in the outer world until it is first accepted in the inner sanctuary of belief. When you truly grasp that your current life is a mirror reflecting your previous mental states, you stop blaming the world and you start mastering yourself. This is the first mark of those who are rising above mediocrity. They take full accountability for what they experience, because they recognize that the creative process flows from within outward. Your mind is not just a receiver of information, it is the projector. Whatever you consistently think about, feel about, imagine vividly and emotionally, that is what your subconscious accepts as real, and therefore it must manifest. Whether it is fear or faith, confidence or doubt, love or bitterness, what you hold in consciousness long enough becomes your personal reality. You are not at the mercy of what happens outside of you. Instead, you are the author, often unconsciously writing stories that you later live out as if they were fate. The key to becoming superhuman is to awaken to this truth and take dominion over your inner world. When you command the thoughts you allow to dwell in your mind, you are commanding the circumstances that will soon enter your life. The secret isn't in controlling the external world, it's in mastering the secret movements of the mind. The emotions you entertain are the energy behind creation. The words you speak to yourself daily shape your destiny. The images you rehearse in your mind, whether of success or failure, will appear before you in time. This is not positive thinking. This is spiritual law. This is not motivation. This is transformation. If you can learn to observe your thoughts instead of being ruled by them, you take your first step toward greatness. Most people live like leaves in the wind. Whatever happens around them dictates their emotional state. But the one who realizes the mind is the only reality stands firm like a mountain. They understand that peace, power, and prosperity begin within. You must treat your mind like sacred ground. Do not allow negative thoughts to plant roots, for they will bear bitter fruit. Do not let fear camp in your imagination, for it will build a house and call it your home. Instead, discipline your thinking. Align it with the vision you desire. Speak only what you want to see. Feel as though your desires are already fulfilled. Walk in the world not as a victim of chance, but as a deliberate creator. The moment you believe that your thoughts are creative, not passive, your whole life begins to shift. You become less reactive and more intentional. You stop complaining and begin commanding. The laws of this universe respond to inner alignment, not outer effort alone. Faith, when fused with imagination and persistence, moves what seems immovable. If your mind is aligned with lack, limitation, or defeat, no amount of external effort can save you. But if your mind is aligned with abundance, power, and victory, nothing can stop your rising. You don't need to change people, manipulate situations, or fight against reality. You only need to change your mental state, and the world will reconfigure itself around that shift. Reality is flexible to the disciplined mind. When you finally accept that your thoughts are not random but responsible, you gain control over your destiny. You don't need to beg for miracles, you become the miracle. Your mental atmosphere either invites heaven or opens the door to hell. Superhuman ability isn't about lifting cars or seeing through walls. It's about mastering the invisible realm of thought where all things are born. Begin by asking, what am I assuming to be true about myself? What inner conversations am I repeating? What emotions am I feeding each day? For the answers to these questions will point directly to what your future holds. To transform your life, you must go beyond surface-level thinking. You must meditate upon and dwell in the version of yourself that is already victorious, already powerful, already fulfilled. Let your mind dwell on what is good, noble, and full of power. Let your imagination be the womb in which your greatest future is formed. Reject the tyranny of doubt and the illusion of separation from your desires. The moment you dare to believe that your imagination is divine, that it is the creative force by which all things are made, you step into a dimension of life reserved for the few. This is the true secret. Your mind, when harnessed, when focused, when flooded with belief and emotional certainty, becomes the divine agent of manifestation. It doesn't matter where you started, what you've lost, or who doubts you. The only thing that matters now is whether you will claim dominion over your inner world. The mind is not some passive mechanism. It is the throne of creation. Guard it, purify it, direct it, because once you do, nothing in this world can hold back the glory that is already yours. This is the beginning of becoming superhuman, not through force, but through focused faith, not through noise, but through inner knowing, not by reacting to life, but by rising above it through the secret power of the mind, the only true reality there has ever been. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, live from the end, not toward it. The moment you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the transformation begins not outside of you, but deep within the chambers of your being. You are not here to beg life for mercy or plead for things to change. You are here to take your rightful place as a creator, one who commands the unseen with confidence and trust. The great illusion most people fall into is thinking they must wait for the world to change before they can feel successful, loved, healed, or worthy. But the truth is exactly the opposite. It is the inner feeling that precedes the outer change. What you feel within you, as though it were already done, magnetizes the corresponding reality into your life. This is the law that governs all creation. You do not receive what you want, you receive what you embody. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled means to live from the end, not toward it. You must feel now what you desire to be true later. You must walk, speak, think, and act from the emotional atmosphere of your goal already accomplished. That is the great key to unlocking the supernatural within. Most people live in a state of endless becoming, always reaching but never arriving, always hoping but never receiving because they refuse to shift their inner state. But if you want to rise above the ordinary and touch the divine, you must step into the identity of the person who already has what they once longed for. This assumption is not delusion, it is creative faith. It is not wishful thinking, it is spiritual law in motion. Every reality you can imagine already exists in potential. The one you bring into your experience is the one you most emotionally identify with. When you assume a thing to be true, you impress it upon your subconscious, and that impression, like a seed planted in fertile soil, will grow into experience. The world rearranges itself to match the dominant emotional state you dwell in. If you persist in the feeling of abundance, abundance must come. If you persist in the feeling of success, success must arrive. If you persist in the feeling of love, love must unfold in your life. The outside world has no choice but to reflect your inner conviction. And so the task is not to make things happen through force, but to make them welcome through inner alignment. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to accept your desire as already accomplished. This is not arrogance, it is spiritual certainty. It is not pretending, it is creating. You must bypass the senses, ignore the facts, and trust the unseen. For the senses only report the past, what has already been formed, but your imagination creates the future. And when you assume a new state of being, you step into that future now. You live in the outcome, and that outcome begins to form around you like a garment woven from invisible thread. The most powerful transformation happens not when your circumstances change, but when your assumptions do. Every time you dwell in the feeling of it is done, you pull the invisible into form, you bring the abstract into the concrete. The world you seek is waiting behind the veil of doubt and disbelief. It only needs your faith-filled assumption to break through. This is why the mindset of those who rise to extraordinary levels is not one of striving but of becoming. They feel it before they see it. They own it inwardly before it shows up outwardly. They do not look for signs of success. They carry the atmosphere of success in their soul. And life, in response, bends itself to match their inner vibration. Understand this deeply. Your desire is not separate from you. The moment it was birthed in your heart, it was already yours in potential. It is not something to chase, but something to receive, and you receive it by assuming the emotional and mental state that matches it. This is why fear blocks blessings. It is a misalignment of energy. This is why doubt delays manifestations. It is an inner contradiction. But when your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs align with your desire, manifestation becomes inevitable. You become the embodiment of what you once longed for. The secret is not in trying harder, but in becoming still enough to feel it real, to close your eyes and dwell in the end, to walk through the scenes of your fulfilled desire in imagination until they feel natural, until they feel like memory. And when that inner movie becomes more real to you than the outer world begins to change. It cannot help it. Life must mirror the assumption you consistently hold. Whether it takes days or months, whether it comes easily or through challenge, the result is always determined by the persistence of your inner state. If you waver, if you shift from belief to fear, from faith to worry, the process slows. But if you remain steadfast, unmoved by appearances, you become a magnet to miracles. Let your mind be the sanctuary where your vision lives. Let your imagination be the temple where your dream is worshipped. Speak of your future as if it is present. Act as the person who already has what they desire. Think from the end, not about it. The one who assumes the feeling of the wish fulfilled is not waiting for blessings, they are dwelling in them now. And that is the great secret the world has missed. To feel rich when your bank account is low, to feel healthy when your body feels weak, to feel whole when your heart feels broken. This is the spiritual path. This is the doorway to the superhuman life. Anyone can respond to facts, but the few, the powerful, the awakened, they respond to truth, and truth is felt before it is seen. When you master the art of assumption, you need no more validation. You need no more proof. You need no more reassurance from the outside world, because you already know who you are, what you have, and where you're going, and that knowing becomes your compass, your strength, your secret weapon. So today, stop asking how and start assuming it is done. The path will appear, the means will show up, the doors will open. You will not need to chase, you will not need to force. You will simply be, and because you are, it will be. This is the power of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This is how ordinary people touch the extraordinary. This is how the invisible becomes visible. This is how you rise. Imagination is the key to dominion. Rule your reality through vision. There is a divine gift buried within every soul, a power greater than muscle, might, or material wealth, and that power is your imagination. The average person dismisses imagination as fantasy, as daydreaming, as something reserved for children or artists. But the truth is far deeper, far more sacred. Imagination is not make-believe, it is creation in motion. It is the womb of your reality, the unseen force that sculpts your circumstances, molds your relationships, and shapes your destiny. To become superhuman, to rise above the life you've known and step into the one you were born to live, you must learn to value imagination not as entertainment, but as the creative force of God operating through your consciousness. Everything that has ever existed began first in the mind of someone who dared to see what wasn't yet visible. Cities, music, empires, breakthroughs, all of it was once just a vision in the unseen. So why then do we treat our imagination as irrelevant, or worse, as an enemy? The truth is, your imagination is your portal to the divine. It is where the seeds of the future are planted, and what you continually imagine with feeling, with clarity, with belief must eventually take shape in your world. The key is not whether you have an imagination, but whether you rule over it, because the same power that can create a life of greatness can also keep you trapped in fear, lack, and limitation if it's ruled by the wrong images. That is why the battleground is always in the mind. That is why the enemy of your soul doesn't need to take your future. He only needs to infect your imagination. He whispers lies not to your ears, but to your inner vision. He shows you scenes of defeat, betrayal, rejection, scarcity, not because they are real, but because if you believe them, they become real. You must protect your imagination like sacred ground, because it is. The images you repeatedly play in the theater of your mind write the script you will soon act out in the stage of life. If you continually rehearse failure, don't be surprised when opportunities slip through your fingers. If you constantly picture abandonment, don't be shocked when relationships break down. But here's the miracle: the moment you decide to reclaim your imagination, to choose what you will see, to build mental pictures that align with your divine destiny, everything begins to shift. You do not need to see results immediately. You need only to remain loyal to the image in your mind. What you do in your imagination consistently, with feeling and faith, sets the blueprint for your physical reality to follow. This is how those who look ordinary do extraordinary things. They have trained their imagination to see the invisible until it becomes inevitable. The secret isn't in how much force you exert in the outer world, but how clearly and consistently you can see the world you desire within. Can you imagine healing when your body is still in pain? Can you see prosperity when your pockets are empty? Can you envision success when the world calls you a failure? If you can hold that vision and not just glance at it, but dwell in it, walk in it, breathe in it, then the substance of that vision must come to life. That is the divine law. The subconscious mind accepts what you repeatedly imagine as truth, and once it does, it will move all things, people, events, timing to bring that vision to pass. This is why imagination must not be casual, it must be intentional. You cannot afford to be careless with the images you allow to take root within you. Guard your mind from scenes that do not align with your destiny. Stop replaying the past that hurt you. Stop projecting futures based on fear. Begin to build in your mind the life you know deep down belongs to you. Picture it in detail. Feel it until it becomes real. See yourself walking in peace, in abundance, in purpose. Visualize your break, through not as distant, but as now. Speak to yourself in the language of completion. I am already there. Because your imagination is the first creation, your experience is the second. The superhuman understands this truth and lives from it. They don't need the world to agree. Their agreement with their own inner vision is enough. And because they are consistent in what they imagine, life bows to their inner blueprint. It must. That's not arrogance, that's spiritual law in motion. The world is malleable to the one who is immovable in vision, while others wait to see before they believe. The one who masters imagination believes until they see. This is how you take dominion, not by controlling others, but by controlling what you imagine about yourself and your life. You are either imagining bondage or freedom, weakness or power, lack or overflow. There is no neutral ground. So why not use this sacred power deliberately? Why not become the artist of your existence and paint scenes of triumph, love, clarity, and impact? What you vividly imagine with feeling becomes your spiritual command. The only limitation is the limit you place on your imagination. If you can see it and feel it consistently, it must move from the unseen into the seen. This is why the most powerful people in history were not always the strongest, richest, or most talented. They were the most vision-driven. They lived more fully in the world within than the world around. Their circumstances never defined them, because they had already defined themselves through the images they held. This is your call to do the same. Don't wait for life to give you permission. Don't wait for the crowd to understand. Don't wait for the evidence. The moment you choose to live by vision instead of sight, You tap into your divine nature. You stop reacting and start creating. You stop hoping and start knowing. This is how you gain dominion, not through striving, but through vision. Not through begging, but through believing. Not through chasing, but through imagining. Your imagination is not just a tool, it is your throne of authority. Rule from it, live in it, guard it, feed it. And it will give birth to a life that looks, feels, and breathes the greatness that was always hidden inside of you. This is your secret weapon. This is the key to the superhuman life. This is the door, and it's been inside your mind all along. Persist until it hardens into fact, the hidden power of inner endurance. The bridge between your desire and its fulfillment is not time, nor is it luck, nor chance, it is persistence. Not the kind of persistence that strains or struggles in the outer world, but the deep inner persistence that clings to the unseen vision despite what the visible world screams back. When you decide to assume a state of being, a new identity, a new level of life, a healed body, a restored relationship, an abundance of provision, the invisible process begins, and yet the transformation you long for rarely appears instantly. This is where most people fall. They start in faith but end in frustration because they cannot see the fruit of what they have planted. But the one who truly understands how spiritual law works, the one who is becoming superhuman, knows the secret is to persist. Persist in the assumption, persist in the feeling, persist in the mental image, persist until it hardens into fact. The outer world is slow to catch up, but it must catch up if you remain unmoved within. This is the law. The moment you occupy a state in consciousness, not just wish for it, not just admire it, but enter into it as if it were real, you have begun the process of manifestation. But manifestation is like a seed. It requires watering, nurturing, belief, and what waters the seed? Persistence. You do not plant a seed and dig it up every morning to see if it's growing. Yet that is exactly what many do with their desires. They doubt, they question, they waver, they look to the outer world for proof. But the outer world is only the echo. The original voice is within you, and until you persist in that voice, you will not hear the echo you long for. Persistence is the mark of the awakened soul. It is the inner knowing that says it is done, even when everything around you says it's not. It's the quiet resolve to walk in the end result before 1 ounce of evidence appears. You continue to think from the fulfilled state. You continue to speak as if it's already yours. You continue to feel the joy, peace, and gratitude of the fulfilled desire until the world has no choice but to respond. And respond it will, because what you are faithful to in imagination, you will experience in manifestation. The mistake so many make is they let their emotions be dictated by outer conditions. They allow temporary delay to become permanent disbelief. They trade the truth of what they've claimed for the lie of what they see. But the superhuman man or woman knows that faith is tested in silence. Faith is tested when the world is unchanged, and yet you remain unchanged, too unshaken, rooted in the end result. The facts may deny it. People may laugh at it. Circumstances may contradict it. But your inner world holds the truth, and if you persist, the facts will bow. Life must yield to the one who is immovable in vision. It is not enough to imagine once. It is not enough to feel it occasionally. Persistence means you dwell in the state daily in thought, in feeling, in speech. You live there before you live there. You celebrate before you have a reason. You give thanks before you receive, and in doing so, you cause the unseen to organize itself in your favor. The subconscious mind responds not to what you do once, but to what you do consistently. That's why repetition is so powerful. Repetition impresses. Repetition forms belief, and belief is what creates. So persist. Persist when your bank account still says 0. Persist when the diagnosis hasn't changed. Persist when doors still seem shut. Keep imagining, keep feeling, keep knowing, because reality bends to persistence like iron bends to fire. The mind that persists eventually becomes magnetic. It begins to draw to itself the people, places, resources, and opportunities that match its inner state. The key is not to force outcomes. The key is to stay faithful to the outcome already seen within. This is not stubbornness in action. This is spiritual mastery. The world cannot deny the one who refuses to deny himself. You are not here to beg life to change. You are here to command life through the quiet persistence of belief. The truth is, most people stop right before the breakthrough. They give up too soon, not realizing that reality was just beginning to shift. But if you could see the invisible gears turning in your favor, the way the universe begins to respond to your inner conviction, you would never doubt again. You would persist with joy. You would persist with peace. You would persist with power, and the more you persist, the easier it becomes, until the new state feels so natural that the old life seems foreign. This is the real work, not to fight the outer world, but to remain anchored within. When the storms rage, you remain still. When the waiting grows long, you remain sure. When the facts shout impossible, you whisper done. This is the power of persistence. It is not loud, but it is unstoppable. It is not glamorous, but it is divine. It doesn't demand, it decides, and once the decision is made, it lives from that decision until the world conforms. This is how you become superhuman, not by avoiding challenges, but by holding to your vision so strongly that not even delay can weaken it. Understand this, nothing resists persistence forever, not sickness, not lack, not limitation. If you are faithful in the unseen, the seen must bow. There is no might greater than the mind set on a vision. And when that mind refuses to let go, when it clings to the fulfilled state with unshakable confidence, reality has no choice but to obey. You don't need to know how. You don't need to control the when. You need only to remain to persist until the dream becomes the fact. So today, choose your end, step into it, feel it, live in it, and persist, because what you persist in imagining, feeling, and believing must eventually harden into fact. The world will catch up. Your only task is to never let go of what you know to be true in the invisible. That's where the power is. That's where the miracle lies. And that's how you move from vision to victory by persistence. You are already that which you seek. Awaken to your true identity. There is a great illusion that has kept countless souls wandering, searching, striving, and suffering, and it is the belief that you must become something greater than you are. But the truth, the liberating, earth-shattering, soul-awakening truth is this: you already are that which you deeply desire. You are not on a journey of becoming, you are on a journey of remembering. The treasure you seek does not lie in the distance, but in the depth of your awareness. You are not separated from your dream, you are separated from the realization that it is already within you. The seed of every breakthrough, every miracle, every purpose-filled life is already planted in your soul. You do not chase it, you awaken to it. The idea that you are not enough yet, not ready yet, not worthy yet, is the lie that has kept you in chains. But the moment you awaken to the truth of your divine identity, the chains fall off. You realize that the love you desire, the abundance you crave, the healing you yearn for, the purpose you seek, it is all a reflection of your truest self trying to emerge. You are not waiting for it to happen, it is waiting for you to see. The moment you see it and claim it, you begin to shift your entire frequency. Life no longer feels like an endless climb, but a graceful unfolding. The great secret is this: the end you want to reach already exists within your being. When you desire something, it is not because it is far, it is because it is familiar. It's a forgotten memory calling you home. Your spirit knows what your mind has tried to dismiss. That's why the longing doesn't leave, because your soul is speaking to you. But most people continue to deny what they feel inside, because the world around them tells them to look outside for their answers. Culture teaches you to achieve more, do more, hustle more, but spiritual truth says to be still and know, not become know. Know that you already are healed, already are chosen, already are whole, already are powerful. When you assume the identity of who you truly are, the world begins to respond in alignment. The doors open not because you knocked harder, but because you realized you already had the key. The relationships shift not because you chased them, but because you elevated your self-concept. Everything in your reality bends to match the energy of who you believe you are. So the moment you say I am, you are activating a state, and the state you dwell in determines the life you live. If you say I am broken, the world confirms it. If you say I am not enough, your life will reflect it. But if you begin to boldly affirm I am love, I am success, I am peace, I am healed, I am already that, then your external world begins to transform in ways you cannot calculate. The power is never in the effort, it is in the identity. What you identify as, you begin to express, and expression always follows assumption. When you assume a new self, you express a new reality. So stop chasing versions of yourself in the future and start living from the truth now. Your future self is not an achievement, it is a realization. You are not becoming more of who you're not, you are shedding the layers of who you never were. Fear, doubt, shame, guilt, they are not your identity. They are the residue of a false self that you've outgrown. Your task is not to strive harder, but to see clearer. Clarity is power, and the clearest truth is this: you already are all that you seek to be. You are simply in the process of unveiling it. The diamond does not become a diamond after pressure, it already was one. The pressure simply revealed it. Likewise, your trials, your waiting, your seasons of silence are not denials, they are revelations. They are revealing the truth of who you are beneath the surface. So when you feel resistance, don't assume it's rejection. Assume it's refinement. It is life carving away what no longer belongs, so that the masterpiece underneath can shine. You are not here to fit into the world's mold. You are here to embody the divine design already etched into your soul. Everything you need, you already possess. Every resource, every answer, every ounce of strength, it is already encoded within you. The challenge is not accessing it, the challenge is believing it. Because once you believe it, once you accept it as true, the outer world begins to confirm it. Life is not happening to you, it is echoing you. And what it echoes most clearly is the vibration of your self-concept. So if you want your world to change, don't chase the world, change your concept of self. Begin to live as the person who already has what they desire. Not with arrogance, but with alignment. Not with ego, but with embodiment. Embody the version of you that is already free, already radiant, already limitless, and watch as life begins to mirror that back to you. This is not self-help, this is spiritual awakening. You don't need to fix yourself, you need to remember yourself, the real you, the fearless, powerful, deeply loved, divinely designed you has never left. You've just been taught to forget, but the moment you remember, you rise above fear, you rise above striving, you rise above the illusion of separation and lack, and in that rising you stop waiting for permission and start living from purpose. This is the secret that makes you superhuman, to know that what you seek is not ahead of you, but already within you. Every great soul that ever walked in greatness did so not because they were more special, but because they knew who they were. You must do the same. Look in the mirror and speak truth. I am already it. I am already whole. I am already chosen. I am already victorious. And keep speaking it until your soul remembers, until your actions align, until your life reflects it. The world will try to distract you, the facts may contradict you, but your knowing must be stronger than your seeing, because once you know who you are, nothing can stop what flows from that knowing. You already are that which you seek. Now live like it, speak like it, walk like it, and the life that belongs to you will unfold with divine precision. You are not becoming it, you are it.